Gonna change out the battery that I currently have in the Satoh S650G. Here's the old one, which is actually a marine deep cycle car battery or boat battery, and it is too large for this tractor. It's just the one that we had to throw in here to get it started up. I'm also going to need to change out these battery cables. This one is cracked right through. It does still work when you put it on there, but definitely not the best thing to have on here. Before I look at this old one, this is the new battery I got. There's part numbers on the Satoh website that the community runs. And this battery cost me, I think total, it's about $200, somewhere around there, which is a pretty high price for what the battery actually is. It's not a ton of power in it, but it does fit. These are designed for a Miata car, so it's small enough to fit into this tractor. But you can see here part number U1RT. It's a 45 reserve capacity, 370 cold crank amps. So that's the new one. The old one, as you can see, because it was so high and it didn't fit into the bracket for the battery, we had to stack some wood on top so it didn't press too hard against the bottom, and then had to put this 2x4 sitting here so then when the seat came down it wasn't pushing onto the top of the battery either. But I'm gonna go ahead, take this old one out, put the new one in, and show you what that looks like. So that old battery I took out, again, that one didn't fit correctly. And this is the bracket that the battery sits in, and I'm not really liking the way, well, my first thought was, you have these two bolts holding this bracket down, and my first thought was the battery is going to be pressing pretty hard against there. But it does look like on either side, this part of the bracket is high enough that it isn't going to press too hard against here, hopefully. But the bracket is pretty rusted out on mine, you can see. So I'm thinking I'm going to keep this plate right on there and set the new battery on top of that. That way it has hopefully a more stable spot to sit on, and it's not going to press too hard against the bottom of the battery and cause any cracks or damage. When I did pick up this battery, immediately once I brought it out to my truck, these are the vent ports at the top. There's one on both sides, and I saw that there was some of the battery acid coming out of there, and so I went back in because I'm not too familiar with batteries and how they are supposed to work and everything, and I asked him about this, and I told him, you know, I kept it flat. I didn't tilt the battery one way or another, so I'm not sure why it's already coming out of there, or if it's, you know, just because it's a new battery, there's so much fluid in there. But it does come with this package that it's two hoses that go onto the vents at the top, and then there's, I don't know if it comes with an adapter, but I think this is just for boil over. If it does kind of tip, or I guess if the battery gets hot and it needs to vent out some of the liquid, that it'll come out of there, and instead of just pouring down the side of the battery, you can direct it somewhere else. So I'm not seeing a adapter that comes with it, so I'm gonna look up where I should run that. If that just, you know, maybe if the battery is sitting here and you vent the acid down onto the ground. If anyone knows exactly what you're supposed to do with it, then let me know, leave a comment on it. But if I do figure out the best way to run those, I will post another video showing that. New battery is in place. Like I said, I need to change out these battery cables. They're not really great. This one is cracked, can't even put a bolt through it, and this one is all the way smashed down, and once you push it down hard enough, it stays on well enough, but it's not perfect. I did keep this plate on the bottom for it to set into. It still has a little bit of the side of the bracket sticking up, so it should hold the battery in place, but I put a bungee cable on there just in case. And now we'll see if it works. Another part of the electrical system, I gotta change out this ignition. It works, but the key tends to slide right out. After you go to turn it on, it'll kind of fall out. So I got just this little piece of rope tied to it that I put right onto the light switch. So then if I'm driving around, I don't lose the key completely. So we get that on there. Put the key in. See if it cranks over. Yep. So the battery works. See if we can get it start up all the way. Pull the choke out. Runs great.